What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving back into our free-to-play account, kind of going over a few things. It has been a few days since I posted a video regarding our free-to-play account. I have also not been playing on it as much. As you see here down at the bottom, I have accumulated a decent amount of daily quests. This is probably one from the last video, but I still have two more quests on top of that, one of them being a 750 and the other one being a 500. I did try to re-roll this one, but we did not get lucky, and we are stuck with the 500 there. But I do have 200 and 750 quests that will contain a decent amount of gold. But in today's video, I kind of want to dive into something slightly different, and this is something that you may have noticed pop up from time to time. But during the week on MTG Arena, typically events pop up like this to say like Midweek Magic into the future. And typically they have in the announcements that you get here with the weekly announcements, if you click on more info, they typically have a list of what events will be popping up for this Midweek Magic event. But with the release of the alchemy cards for Wilds of Eldraine, this week's Midweek Magic is actually an event where it's free to play. You don't have to pay anything to enter, and the decks that you actually get to play with are already provided for you, so you don't actually have to bring any cards. And I would say from time to time you want to keep an eye out for these type of things, because this is definitely a decent way to earn some additional currency. As you see here, you're able to get at least 2 rares or higher, and then you also get a cosmetic at the end. You get to play in an environment like the starter deck duels where you're only playing against other people playing these decks. Sometimes it's sometimes a good time to take a break from maybe the current deck you're currently playing, like especially early on when you really only have one deck. Playing in these events are definitely a good way to kind of break up that monotony of playing the same games over and over and over again and just grinding it out that way. So in today's video, I'm going to dive into this event. By the time this gets posted, it's possible that this event is no longer active. At the time of recording, it is about 5 hours until this event is over. But we're going to dive in. We're going to experiment. I don't really know what these cards are all about when it comes to the alchemy for Wilds of Eldraine, but I know this main set is actually pretty cool. And probably for the sake of the video, I'll probably play at least one game of each, or at least try to finish the event, depending on whatever happens first. So we'll just start at the beginning and start with the adventure into Eldraine and then kind of work our way all the way to the right. Alright, so we got our opening hand. It's a handful of, a bunch of cards, some tap lands, so kind of feels almost like a starter deck, but with some alchemy splash in here. There's a possibility that sometimes they do events like this where they kind of put in some alchemy cards into it to kind of see maybe these are decks they're looking forward to building in the future, but we'll keep this 7 as I do think it's solid, as we do have our colors. And we'll just also do the same thing. We'll start with a tap land, get that out of the way, probably do another one. I don't think, playing this on turn 2 is going to be very beneficial, so we'll play another tap land. They didn't play anything anyway. We have this that we can do at sorcery speed, which I guess is not bad. So we have a little bunny, and then we get to have that perpetually gain +1/+1. Awesome. So that's actually kind of cool. That whenever this attacks, it will then eventually gain +1/+1. So if our opponent doesn't get rid of the rabbit, we'll slowly gain a larger tortoise, which is definitely an overall pretty decent card. It looks like our opponent's possibly in that dragon deck that they had in the thing, so it is kind of curious to see what the deck is all about. I'm going in blind. I didn't actually look at any of the lists. This is kind of like the first time. This one we can create a roll token, attach it to a creature we control, and have a 4/3 trampler. This one is until end of turn, target creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power toughness 1/1. So they got their rare out, which is pretty solid. We could make their creature 1/1, and then that's about it. We could kill their creature. We can't kill their creature, but we could do this. I think this is probably the play. And then we'll attack. All right. And they decide to block. Don't block, I guess, because it only lasts till end of turn. This one is 7. Draw 4 cards. Discard 2 cards. Alright, looks like they're tapping to make a bat. They're going to seek a creature. Did not draw a land. Put target creature, instant or sorcery card. Play this. This can kill their flyer. So I guess maybe we do that and continually attack. And we'll attack with our rabbit. Our little rabbit is doing some work right here. You know, this is going to come down as a 6/6 with ward. This is right now a 2/2. So definitely pretty good overall. And now our Frantic Firebolt is growing a little bit bigger. So we're good there. And sometimes playing in events like this are always fun just because it gets to see how cards work in like a different way than they normally would in like a standard format. Okay, that could be a problem. Kind of on the big side. Oh, we got ourselves a land and just about to tap and choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color. I feel like we're good. Maybe another blue could be helpful, right? Because we have all the other colors, but we don't have blue. I guess we'll just put a monster roll token on our little rabbit. So now it's a 2/2 with trample. Now it's scary. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a little awkward with our hand. Just because I do think missing land has been kind of not beneficial. I could have gotten rid of their claw guy, which I guess would have been helpful just because then they can't like tap it to cast additional things. Our opponent may, I would say, due to. Yeah, that's probably the smart play. And now the problem is we're a little behind on board, so filling it back up to deal with what they have going on here could be a little bit of a problem. And then they're going to be able to get like dragons slowly but surely. So yeah, could play the turtle, could play the otter. So I guess what we could do is kill their vigilance guy, play the otter. I'm not sure. That uses the best amount of our mana, though it doesn't help with the flyers. We could play the Aqueduct Alchemist next turn. It does put the card on top, which is not great. We've drawn okay. I wouldn't say we've drawn great. And our opponent has the removal, so good for them. And now we have to find an answer. So we have that card, which doesn't help. We could just play the 5/4, which has reach. Yeah, I guess that is the best play. So if they don't have the answer, I guess we have a reach creature. But we're looking not so great in this position just because flyers don't seem to be the card that we definitely want here. I think our opponent resolving their Realm Scorcher Hellkite pretty early has been pretty beneficial. They can tap to deal 1 damage, so I have to block here because they have mana open. Either way, it was just kind of delaying the inevitable. But I still think this deck is pretty solid. I just think like getting mana screwed there early probably did not help us there. We're on the play. I mean, it seems good. I mean, there's definitely things that we could definitely do here. So we'll start with the tap land. Creature at the beginning of combat, each turn of 2 more line currents on the battlefield control. Interesting. Okay, so we have some plays. So like this card could be very good. Looks like they're maybe also on the same deck, so not 100% sure. We got an angel here at the beginning of your end step. If 2 or not line currents on the battlefield, control, draw a card. Oh, looks like they're on the teamer deck that we just played. All right. We'll go with this. I think this triggers a celebration. And now we have a 4/3 that we didn't have to pay any additional mana for. I could play Lady Laughter next turn, which could be decent. I could also play Ash Party Crasher and Ratcatcher Trainee next turn. Definitely have some options here. All right, they're going to play their 3/4. I think probably the best thing to do here... Huh. Okay. I think we start here. And then we do this. Um, 4/3. I guess we'll put it here. Do I attack? Yeah, sure. It's a 5/3. And they decide to take it, which is cool. I don't know if they realize what I just did, though. Because of the fact that we have a bunch of dwarves on top of our library. But, I mean, if they're going to power up their one creature into a 6/7, I'm gladly going to be fine with that. Wow. Wait, I thought we... Huh. I guess I was not thinking what was gonna happen there. No attacks. We'll sit back. I don't think we're in a position to aggressively push there. I mean, I could have played the trainee to trigger celebration again, but I don't think that's the play. We are getting wide, so that's probably going to be our next play, is just to get wider than our opponent. We block their Trampler very well. I mean, they do have a bunch of stuff in exile, though, that they could cast. So they definitely have some plays. Sure. And this does, whenever it attacks a control creature power 4 or greater, it gains double strike. Got it. And they pass, which makes sense. I mean, they're not in any pressure to add in cards. We trigger celebration. We exile top card. It is a red cap Gutter Dweller. When enters the battlefield, create 2 black rat creatures. At the end of your upkeep, you may sacrifice another creature if you put a +1/+1. Alright, so we have a lot of things that just exile top cards of our library. No, we'll continue. We'll keep it here. Don't really have good attack still. Just gonna get wide and I guess eventually have that one big attack, because this should only become a 6/4, which still dies to a 6/7. These would get pumped. This would get pumped by sacrificing the food, and that would kill probably something else. Maybe next time we can start pursuing with some rats. Could give like something like that menace. Sure. Now their creature's bigger, so definitely much stronger, harder to deal with. And now we get to exile top 2 cards. We'll sacrifice a rat. Alright. When this card enters the battlefield, draw a card. So we play a dwarf. I guess we start here. I feel like that's the play with the Human Peasant. We will also then play this ball. That triggers Celebration. We'll submit 0. I mean, I could give this Menace, but it doesn't do anything. No attacks. I think next turn is going to be the attack where we kind of go wide. Because, I mean, we'll be able to get in with some decent attacks here. We'll pump some things. Things will die. But I do think they'll have to make some sacrifices if they don't do anything. Because we'll be able to play multiple cards next turn. And I guess this puts just... They get shuffled into your library. Because there is a 7 dwarves here. But I thought it was on top. I don't know. A lot of mystery on our opponent's side of the battlefield. Though I do think we're in that position of who is going to tap first. Discard your hand and draw 2 cards. Kind of aggressive, but I guess if you're looking for answers, that is going to be a card that you're going to want to play. This X's number of cards in your graveyard that are instant and sorceries. So it costs 3 right now. Sure. We'll exile some stuff. Got another dwarf. We'll sacrifice a rat. Cut-in's really good because of its ability to do 4 damage. That's solid. So I think we start here. And these also grow, so these are going to be solid in that sense. And we're fine on cards. For a minute, I wanted to do a quick deck check. Thanks. I think we move it here. And I think we... I don't know. We'll see what they block with. Because we'll be able to at least kill something. Has Menace. They'll have to double block. I'm going to start putting pressure on them, I guess, if they want to commit 2 blockers. That's fine. We'll kill the 2/2. Now, the real question is, can we keep the momentum up? All right, that is a card that you could play. They're going to mill a bunch. Mill 7 cards, then put 4 adventure cards among them. They are tapped out, so that's good. If we can chain some 7 dwarves together, that'll be pretty solid. I mean, us looking at the top 2 cards of our library every turn is also really good. It's also... Wow, that card's only... Okay. I just realized that card is not legendary, so having multiples of these is good. I guess we do this again. I guess we'll put this back on. We'll put this here. Yeah, I'm just gonna swing. I still have decent blocks. I have a ton of health. They don't have a ton of trample. They just drew a bunch of cards, so their blocks are kind of awkward. And I guess they're going to let the damage go in, but it looks like it's lethal because they didn't block the 7-4. I don't know if they would have been dead either way, but I do think that was probably the most opportune time just because of them having all that in their hand, which they would have just started playing next turn because there was stuff that was literally like 1 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana, 4 mana, and they have a decent amount of mana. I could have maybe attacked sooner and not let them build up their Tempest Heart. There was a turn that I did let this card get exiled. Maybe I don't play and, cast this and remove one of the creatures they had out at that time. But we got the win. Moving on to the next one. All right, and we get our rewards. We're sitting pretty good, 4,000 gold. Got our rare, which is a 3 blind mice, which is cool. It's cool to get a card from the new set. If you don't know what this card does, you create a 1/1 mouse, creature token, create token that's a copy of other tokens you control, and then creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance. This is a card, I believe, that I think can combo off if you have something else. Like if you had another one of these, you make a copy of that one, then that becomes a copy of this, and they kind of infinitely loop unless they get rid of like the original copy, but still pretty cool. Always kind of cool to see what Wizards makes with their ideas based on some of the new cards and see if there's maybe some iteration we could do without that card. And there's a tap unless you're starting player. We're the starting player, so it will enter tap. You got some removal. We have this 2-drop guy that gets +1/+0 on end of turn. Becomes a dragon, gets +3/+3. Oh my god, that's so good. Holy crap. We'll keep. We'll get this out of the way. Probably choose red, since double red seems to be important with our current hand. So that's probably where I'll go. And then I guess we'll see what our opponent's up to. All right. So our opening hand, we'll choose this, and we'll choose red. All right, they're also on red. Looks like they're on the Teamer deck. And they got the turtle, so I don't know if their turtle will go the distance. Our turtle was not able to. But we'll play our 2/2, which then makes their turtle not as good to attack. And then I think from there, we're almost off to the races. We could reveal any number of things. We're going to go no blocks. I'll let you grow your turtle. I feel like they have a play. So if I didn't do anything, they were going to just do that. I could play the removal because it's sorcery speed. And it makes our dragons cost less to play. So I guess that's probably the play. We'll remove this. We'll tap. No more turtle power for you. And then we have a discount on the next dragon we play. So definitely setting up for a pretty solid turn. We could play this for 5. We could play this for just 2 mana. And then this is a fly and trample whenever a dragon attacks. Create a treasure token. So good there. Got ourselves a little otter. Just a little guy. This can do 4 damage to any target as it enters the battlefield, which is also really good. Reveal Heir to the Dragon from your hand. Heir to the Dragon. Oh, I did not. Okay, so I think we'll probably play this big old dragon. And we're just going to do 4 damage to the face and then attack. I think being able to just cast a dragon for cheap is big here. And I think our opponent saw the writing on the walls. I will say this removal card that they added for this deck is really good. You take a turn off to deal damage to something, which is also to any target, I just realized. I thought it was just the creatures or something, but you can do it to any target. So you can do it to face, and then the following turn you just follow it up with some sort of dragon, like this big old 4/5, or this 4/4, which fly and trample whenever it attacks you get treasure, or even the one that just convokes for cheaper. All of those are solid options combined with this, and you just cheat them out early. So overall, pretty solid. And I guess our opponent was like, "Yeah, I'm not beating that." All right, and we'll get a reward, which is going to be a Denathia. We're on the play. We can pretty much cast our 1-drop immediately, but then after that, it's a bunch of 4-drops and a removal. I guess it's still fine. Might as well get this out on turn 1. It's kind of a hard fairy to deal with. And then just hope that we draw into spells. It'd be very surprising that the blue-black deck does not have ways to draw cards. But having this plus a fairy is going to be very good removal on turn 2. So, definitely not too bad to start off. And they'd play tap land, that's fine. Play this. I guess we'll play the tome. And I'm not going to actually equip it just because this can't attack. So maybe we can hold this up for possibly removal. Because this would be the turn that they probably want to do something. Bargain enters the battlefield. You get a one-time boon when one or more creatures in the battlefield under your control. Create a wicked token attached to one of them. Then I guess we'll just play it. Not with bargain. And then I think this will untap next turn. Or it has one more turn, I think. I think it's one more turn, but I could force it to untap. I guess it really just depends on what our draw is. Part of me thinks our opponent is going to maybe play the removal spell. I guess maybe they were seeing what's going on with the ward. This is not a fairy, so this will not get buffed there. So this would just become an X spell. So if they were able to get rid of our Sleep Curse Fairy, that wouldn't be very good for us. All right, that's the final one. I guess I will activate and we'll equip. And I guess attack. And we get Consider. Okay, that's pretty good. I think Consider's solid. I guess we're in the we're in the lead. Our opponent's a little behind. They kind of didn't do anything on turn 3, but I feel like the deck can do stuff on turn 3. That seems all right. But I feel like they could have done better. Like start with Consider. I think so. I don't need that. As much as it's a mythic, I'd rather see if I can find like a creature. We'll pay 0. Confirm it. And we'll just remove this. Let's see what else we get from the book. We got ourselves a peek. Okay. Our opponent's at 9, so they're starting to get a little low on health here. So what does this do? Has Flash, Bargain, Flying. When it enters the battlefield, return to 1 target spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If it was Bargain, the card perpetually gains this costs 2 more to cast. Got it. Huh. I could look at their hand and draw a card next turn. That's a little funny. I feel like that's almost putting salt on the wound. That's a Spell Stutter. Counter target spell unless its control pays 2, additional 1 for each fairy. And this hand is awkward. I think we do this. We'll put this here. And we're going to just equip. We're just going to attack it with their 3-1. If they block, they block. Because I feel like they want to get rid of the fairy. Because it has ward and all that stuff. So them taking a 3-2 into a 3-2. Or a 3-2 into a 3-3 ward is very beneficial. Them blocking a 3-1. Not as much. Then I think we just sit back and see what they do. Regardless of whatever happens. I mean, we also still have this on the battlefield, so that's something to consider. I guess our opponent's roping. Or they're in the tank. I don't really know. I guess it's either block or don't block. All right, they don't block. I get a card. It's draw a card. I'm just gonna end turn, and I'll get rid of this because I have too many cards in hand. They didn't draw a dragon or they did draw a dragon. I don't really know. But we have a counter for whatever they play here. So I feel like once we counter their next spell, we may just win the game. It's typically how it goes. Like when opponent's in a position like this, and you counter like their big spell they were going to cast on that turn, it makes it very awkward for them. Also, did they discard a card? So maybe they got stuck on land as well. Interesting. And with that being said, they decided to scoop. So I guess our opponent was not feeling very confident with us countering their only fairy. Next turn, we could double attack. They probably block here, let this go through. We then gain another card. We probably then follow it up with, hopefully, we draw a land and go to 4. If not, we could always just dump one of these. But still, I guess nonetheless, opponent probably had just a very awkward hand. Probably should have peeked, see what was going on there, because it just seemed like they were just holding and just didn't do anything. All right, and we get the final reward here, which is a Metropolis Reformer card style. All right, we're on the play. Hand seems okay. I'm not really sure what the deck is trying to do, but it does have a lot of sorceries that have bargain and stuff, so I guess we keep. We'll play our tap lands out first. Okay, so this is like a search for a land. If we can bargain it, we get a 3/3 elemental. Our land becomes a 3/3 elemental. We control 3 or more boards with different names. Conjure each card from the Conjure Pig spellbook onto the battlefield. If you control 2 or fewer boards with different names, 2 cards from my choice. Okay. We'll just say go. That's sorcery speed, but I don't feel like casting it. I think next time we just cast this. Sure. We'll cast this. We will cast this card, which just creates a beast. I guess later in the game we could play our Swine Rebellions here just to get some cards if we need more creatures, because that is our current beast on the battlefield is our only creature. Food Coma is going to be very clutch here because that will allow us to remove something that maybe will just be pesky and in the way. They have a first striker that has celebration as well, as long as the 2 more non-permanents. Blah, 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 blah. We'll decline. Did I go first? I don't remember. Guess we'll do black. Sweet. We'll get rid of this guy. And we'll just sit back. Just because this guy will get pumped up and trample. So that's going to be hard to deal with. So I feel like that's better than a guy who's has double strike, which is not a big deal because this will block fairly well against double strike. I mean, if they have a combat trick, they have a combat trick, but I'll just do this. Submit 0. We'll play the Fortress. I guess we'll play Swine Rebellion. First little piggies. Oh my god. Guess we'll take these two. I guess we'll put the 2/3 on the battlefield. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. This is just too funny that they're like the 3 little pigs. Becomes a Boar Spirit, base power and toughness 4/4, gains flying, activate only if second piggy isn't a spirit. So, okay. And we have a 3rd little pig that we can do next turn whenever one or more other cards. Whenever you conjure one or more other cards, it gets +1/+1. This ability also triggers if it's in your graveyard. See what our opponent does. They're kind of low on cards. All right, they had the Godric. They had like the card draw. Why not block with the double strike? I guess they didn't have... Ooh, first little pig. And we gain a life. And I guess we bargain. We'll target this land. And we'll just get a green mana. No tax. This is just too funny with all the pigs. It also bothers me that they're not in like proper order. So it's like the second pig, then it's the first pig, then the third pig. So it's not like the other way. So personally, I think they should have held off. Also, they should attack in with a double striker. I'll just take it. Got another thing. We can exile. We can actually... exile that. We can play another Swine Rebellion. And we could play another pig. So it's pigs versus red-white. Go pig aggro. Nice. I could play this and just aggressively attack. They're not dead, though. What if I attacked with the 3/3s? What does our opponent do? I'm very curious if our opponent like blocks at all. All right, double block. Okay, we're putting a 2/3 there. Putting a 2/3. So 1/1 and a 2/3. We'll get rid of the 2/3 because the 1/1's not important. 2/3, done. I guess we'll save one. Like, it doesn't really matter which one. But I feel like that's fine for us. And then we'll just play our 3/1 and end turn. And I think we have a much wider board that can be fine. They are just got lands. They have no good attacks here. Like, all the attacks benefit us. The Though they're not dead if we attack back on the next turn, so that is a thing. The 3/1 could attack. That's okay, not great. I guess we'll just perpetually give our pig flying. That's also hilarious that our pigs can fly. This deck is just a deck full of memes at this point. I am not upset. Sure. You have Celebration. I still have enough blockers. Can you really attack in? I guess they are. Sure. Block here. Take 4. Get rid of your double striker. I don't have anything with proliferate, so if I set all in, we'll just do this. Regain a little bit of life. Drain them. And they don't have enough blockers to block even all the things on the ground because the rats can't block and they only have 3. So it seems like we got the victory, and I think our opponent is going to time out. Oh, nope, nope. They're making some blocks. Sure. Makes sense. And the pigs get the win. Okay. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for the Midweek Magic event. We played each of the decks. I think out of all of them, I think the Pigs deck was my favorite just because it felt like it was kind of a meme for the most part because it's just like pigs. I don't know, where the other ones had more of, I guess, more stylized than what would be expected from a meta deck. This one just felt like it was just a bunch of fun playing all the pigs and beating your opponent down with the 3 little pigs in a way. I don't know what else is in the deck. I kind of want to take a look just because I felt like that's all I really drew. It seems like we have this card, Porcelain Potent, which would just help us exile creature, gain 1 life for each board you control. Pretty solid. And when it enters the battlefield, conjure a card of your choice from the 3 little pigs spellbook onto the battlefield. And then it's a boar lord, so it gives all our pigs then +1/+1. Other than that, we got the Redemption, Swine Rebellion we saw. Anything else in here that kind of stood out to be kind of unique? No, not really. I mean, for the most part, we kind of saw everything. You do see here that if you want, you can also craft all these cards. So if you did like one of these decks, not just saying for the Alchemy event, but for any event that they pop up where they let you playtest some of the decks that they're kind of conjuring up for a particular event, you can simply either add the decks to your collection by hitting add to decks, or you can simply go into the deck itself and craft all the cards so that you have the cards in order to build the deck you're looking for, though you do need the wild cards, which we would not be able to because we don't have any rares. But yeah, like I said, playing in these Midweek Magic events are always very fun. There's never any entry fee for these, so these are definitely good ways to experiment. Sometimes they allow you also to use any cards, even if you don't own them in these events, so you can then conjure a deck that maybe you don't have enough wild cards for. Try it out in an event like this, and then be able to play test it in a way and kind of see what works, what doesn't, without actually having to commit any wild cards to it before you build it. But overall, like I said, if you want to check out when they do like the event schedule, you simply go to your mail here on your app, and then you are just going to quickly go here and then go to this Arena weekly announcements are here. This will just have a list at the bottom of the article that they talk about various things that happen in the week of Arena, as well as whatever events are in the upcoming future, so you get an idea of what is coming when it comes to these Midweek Magic events. On top of that, you also get a preview of the future, like the future quick drafts like Brothers War, Wilds of Eldraine, all that stuff. You'll get an idea of what the schedule is for that as well. But with that being said, if you like the video, it definitely helps out a lot hitting that like button. If you're new here, you want to post new videos like this one here on the channel, hit that subscribe button. But until next time, I'll see you in the next video.